Hello, church family. This is Bob Stewart, your newest elder, actually. Just came on board this year. So thank you for the opportunity to talk about my favorite topic, really, which is Jesus and how Jesus came into my life. I was fortunate enough to be raised by a mother who took me to church, so I knew about Jesus. But I don't think he really came into my life until I needed him. And that was when I was 16 years old and I had long hair. I got long hair now. Look at that. Yeah, life repeats itself. And I was raised in a good home, but I was doing things that wouldn't make my parents proud. Not how I was raised, hanging out with people I probably shouldn't have hung out with. But what happened is friends of mine and I went out camping, and we stayed up all night partying. The first night, I had my dirt bike with us. The next morning, a friend of mine wanted to chase some rabbits, so he went off and back in those days, this is some years ago, there was no really requirement to wear a helmet. I think I had a helmet there, but Ron didn't wear one. We often didn't. Anyway, he took off and I don't know how exactly, but got into some kind of accident, flew off the bike, hit his head, and killed himself. So wow, for a 16-year-old. Ah, boy, that was tough. And I didn't know what to do with that. I couldn't handle that. It was way beyond my ability to handle that. And so I cried out to Jesus, and Jesus answered that prayer. And it was a pretty simple prayer. It was something like, God help me. I knew who he was because I'd been raised in the church, so I knew who I needed to turn to. And you know what he did? He came into my life, and he gave me the ability to put aside that old way of living. All things become new, and it did. And I started following after Jesus, and started, setting some goals in my life. And God has really blessed me, and I wish I could say that it was that way all these years, and it wasn't. In my first marriage, I made some big mistakes, and my biggest mistake, actually, though, looking back on it, is thinking that I could replace Jesus on the cross. That it wasn't enough that he died for my sins. I had to beat myself up over my mistakes and lived in misery, really, even though I knew the Lord. And it wasn't really until about 6 years ago that I had a revival in my life. And finally, I was able to accept his forgiveness and embrace that and realize that that there's nothing that's going to block me from his love. And there's nothing that will block you from his love. Maybe you're like me, and maybe you had a good start with the Lord, but then I don't know, got sidetracked for whatever reasons. Let me tell you, Jesus is there with open arms. And one of my favorite verses is Matthew 11:28. Come to me, all you who are weary and heavy laden, and I will give you rest. That's the call of Jesus, just to come to him, especially now. Maybe there's not a big thing. Maybe it's not a big, it's a pretty big, event in my life where I turned away from God. It doesn't have to be that. Just the pressure we're under right now. He wants to give you that rest. And he does say, take his yoke upon him and learn of him, because he is meek and lowly of heart, and you will find that rest for your soul. Well, you know what? That yoke that he puts upon us is just learning of him, becoming more like him. And the beauty of that is that now in my life, I have brothers and sisters. I have the church, and I don't have to do this thing alone. I look at the verses, you just look at the verses that talk about unity in the church to say, well, we should have unity because it's bad to be in disagreement. It's bad to be disunified. But that's true. But really, the unity blocks us off from being able to help each other, right? And support each other. And in my life, I have gotten so much support and so much encouragement from being a part of the family of God and participating with them in this wonderful life that the Lord has promised us. So I think that's all I got for you guys today. Blessings. I love you.